Hey students, in our last lecture of business research methods, we have discussed about bar charts and histograms. In this lecture, we'll discuss something about pie charts. So what are pie charts? Pie charts are the charts that show the composition of some total quantity at a particular time. So out of a whole, uh, total composition is shown in a pie chart. Means just for an example, if there are 100 students in a class, then how many of those are male and how many of those are females? This composition can be shown by using a pie chart. So there are 100 students. If there are 60 students who are males and 40 who are females, so through a pie chart we can show the composition of the class. Similarly, we can use pie chart for many other types of business research, where we are trying to find out the composition of some total population. So each angle or slice in a particular chart or circle is proportional to its percentage of the whole. So when there is a pie chart is a circular chart. We'll show just an example. So these are pie charts. So these pie charts have some angles or some slices. So this is a circle, this is a whole chart, and in the whole chart there are some slices or some angles. So this says that each angle or slice in a particular chart or circle is proportional to its percentage of the whole. So if that slice or angle is small, it means the proportion is small, and if that slice or angle is large, it means the proportion of that segment or that group in the whole population is large. So depending on the size of slice, we can simply uh, understand that out of total population, what is the composition of this particular segment. Each of the segments or slice is labeled with its description and percentage. So further, by just seeing there are percentages or there are description along with the slice, so with the help of that description of percentage, we can understand that out of total population, what is the composition and what is the proportion or share of each group or subgroup or segment. So as I have discussed in my example, if there are 100 students, 60 boys and 40 girls, so in that pie chart there will be two portions, one larger than half and other is smaller than half, means one occupying 60% portion of the circle and other occupying 40% of the circle, and it would also be mentioned alongside that this is 60%, this is 40%, this 60% represent boys and 40% represent girls. So further, too many small slices should be avoided. It is standardized that there should not be too many small slices in a pie chart. About 6 slices is a typical maximum. So if we want to show a composition of a particular area of a particular group and there are up to 6 subgroups, then this pie chart could be more useful. If the composition has more than 6 groups, then it should be avoided. Pie charts are effective in communicating frequency distribution and cross tabulation. So frequency distribution and cross tabulation can also be represented using pie chart. Just as I have taken the example, if there are 100 students, 60 is the frequency for boys and 40 is the frequency for girls. So frequency distribution can be easily communicated using pie charts. It is a visual representation. Size of each pie slice corresponds to a frequency value associated with it. As I have discussed earlier, if the size of pie slice is larger, it means it is actually a larger portion of total population, and if it is smaller, then it is a smaller portion of the total population. So size of each pie slice corresponds to a frequency value associated with it. So as I have discussed, if it is an example of 100 students, 60 boys and 40 girls, so size of one would be larger, that would be corresponding to boys, and the other would be smaller, corresponding to the number of girls in the class. A set of pie charts can be compared to communicate cross tabulation results. As I had discussed earlier, that in cross tabulation we actually compare the frequency of or percentage of different groups or subgroups simultaneously. So if we want to see the frequency distribution or percentage distribution of different types of subgroups simultaneously, we can use different pie charts simultaneously. Those pie charts can be compared to see the composition of different groups or subgroups simultaneously. So this is an example: the consumption of beverage preference in 1992, 2005 and 2018. So this comparison, using three pie charts, we can simultaneously compare the results percentage, that how the beverage preferences are there. So for wine in 1992 it was 27%, in 2005 it was 39%, and in 2008, sorry, it was not 18, it was 2008, it was 31%. So simultaneously we can compare the frequency and percentage distribution using pie chart. So this is actually what we do using cross tabulation. We compare the results, frequency or percentage distribution simultaneously. We can do the same thing using pie charts. In fact, actually more than one pie charts can be used to compare the frequency or percentage distribution results. Next topic that would be discussing is hypothesis testing. So first question that comes to our mind is, what is hypothesis? In a simplest way, we can say that hypothesis is just an assumption about something. But as we are discussing business research, so it is an assumption, it could be an assumption, something related to business. So hypotheses are, you can see that there are two types of spelling in hypothesis: THESIS and THESES. SIS is singular and SES is plural. So hypotheses are formal statements of explanations stated in testable form. So there are some statements, and those formal statements can be tested. So we just try to test some statements. It's a type of assumption which is based on certain previous studies. So it is an assumption, but it's not just a vague assumption. It's an assumption which is based on some previous studies. Some previous studies have said that advertisement and sales are related. So we can have an hypothesis that advertisement and sales are related. Some previous studies may say that a person's qualification or education is related to the person's salary. So that hypothesis or assumption can be made that educational qualification is related to salary. So these assumptions are made or based on certain previous studies. Hypotheses are tested by comparing researchers' guess, which is based on studies, with empirical reality. So as I have discussed, that guess or assumption or statement is based on some previous studies, and then the researcher goes for empirical study. Empirical study means a study which is based on observation or experiment. So a researcher actually compares the assumptions based on previous studies and the facts or figures calculated using some experiments or observation. So these two things are then compared. As I have discussed that there could be one example or one assumption that advertisement and sales are related. If we increase advertisement, the sales would increase. If we reduce advertisement, sales will decline. So these are two variables which according to the theories are related. Then we assume that these two variables are related, and then we go ahead with empirical study. We go for observation or experiments, and then we try to find out whether that establishment in theories is actually there or not. So if it is there, then it means our assumption is supported, otherwise it is not supported. Hypothesis testing is used so these could be said to be three objectives of hypothesis testing, or three functions of hypothesis testing. So these are the three things that can be done using hypothesis testing. First is establish relationship between two or more variables. As I have discussed that the relationship between two or more variables can be established. Sales and advertisement are two variables. So a relationship between two variables can be established using hypothesis testing. Establish relationship between groups. So between two or more groups, the relationship can also be established using hypothesis testing. As I have discussed, another example that qualification, educational qualification and a person's salary are related. So educational qualifications could be groups, could be divided into groups. So individuals can be divided into groups on the basis of their educational qualifications. Individuals who are educated up to 10th is one group, who are educated up to 10 plus 2 are another group, who are educated up to graduate another group, who are educated more than graduates is another group. So is there any relationship between the salaries of these groups or not? So these relationship can also be established. So salaries of individuals having education up to 10th, salaries of individuals having education up to 10 plus 2, salaries of individuals having education up to graduation, are these related, are these equal or not? So this can be another type of hypothesis or assumption. So variable is only one, it is salary, and what we are comparing, the salary among or between different groups or subgroups. So establish relationship between groups. Hypothesis testing can be used for this as well. And last is establish relationship with some standards. So it is also possible that there are some standards, some already there are some standards which are in theory, and then we are trying to find out whether everything according to those standards is associated or related, or it is not related. So simple example, another, if it is mentioned somewhere that average age of Indians is 80 years, right? So these are the standards established earlier. So we go through some studies and we find that average age mentioned in studies for Indians is 80. So then we go ahead with our own studies, observations, experiment, and find whether average age of Indians that is mentioned in theories is 80 or not. So establish relationship with some set standards. So hypothesis testing can be used for these three type of functions or activities. That is all for this lecture. We'll get back with more discussion on business research method in next lecture. Thank you.